it's Mrs. C here with cycle 2, week 17. I'm sorry for those of you who were waiting on me. We had so much sickness in this house. I got my first stomach bug I've had in like a decade. I don't recommend it. So anyway, we will jump into geography. Enough about that. So as it lists in the guide, it starts with the Netherlands. I will be starting with geometry, Germany for this section, just because I feel like it's a bigger one. It's easier for the kids to find. And we've already talked about some of the rivers that are in Germany. So I will start with Germany and kind of work from there. Again, I like to review other locations that we've talked about through the years. So we have the North Sea, we have the Rhine, we have the Elbe. We have, when you get down to Switzerland, the Alps are right through there with the Matterhorn. Luxembourg makes this perfect little triangle between France and Germany, and one of our new locations, Belgium. And then we have the Netherlands. So the Rhine River runs from the North Sea through the Netherlands, curves around through Germany, and ends up in France. So it's a great section to kind of review some of those that we haven't covered for many weeks. Let's see, Belgium's really close to the English Channel. I don't know exactly where those waters like become the North Sea versus the English Channel, but that's a good one to bring back in. Let's see, trying to look what other locations. I think those are about all of the ones that are definitely in the countries we're talking about. You might remind them that Denmark sits right on top of Germany, and Germany also has the North Sea, and the Baltic Sea comes over there too, just to kind of touch on those. So for the little kids, I would use some type of little, do you need something, buddy?
No.
I just want to stand and listen. Use some type of little figurine, have them move around, have them do an action. Like for Luxembourg, since it's really tiny, have them stand on their tippy toes in Luxembourg and do some jumps in Germany. And they can go skiing in Switzerland on the mountains. Just fun little things like that to just make it a little more fun as we go through a lot of these countries now. These are little erasers I found in the dollar spot. They're actually numbers, but they're also animals. This is I think it's supposed to be a flamingo. I don't know. I can't tell what all of them are, but they're fun little ones. Hatchimals are also great. If you have any of those, they're kind of nice and tiny and fun. And then you can also do finger puppets. These are also great to use. I like to have the kids, these are animal ones that I have, so I like to have them touch their animal noses to the different countries. And then you can also use toothpicks to kind of be your little tiny pointers, especially for where these locations are a little bit smaller. That's a fun one, just to give them something to do with their hands. But the older classes, at this point, I don't do too much of that kind of stuff. Occasionally, if I'm feeling really nice, I might bring in some Smarties and let them put Smarties on these different locations. But I don't do that very often. I also, with the older kids, because they kind of pick up really quickly, Germany, Switzerland, Luxembourg, Belgium, Netherlands, they'll pick that up really fast. So then I like to start throwing them off by jumping to other locations. So I'll jump over to Finland, and then I'll jump down to Syria, and then I might go back up and touch Luxembourg and get them to say that one. And then I'll go over to Portugal and to Ireland, and then I might run my fingers around the Carpathians and then jump back over and have them say Germany. And I'll start adding in those new locations as we review other locations we've learned this year, just so that they're actually knowing where they are and not just memorizing the correct order to say them in as we move around in this section. So that's what we will do for geography. As usual, after geography, I will do Latin. So we've moved to future tense. For future tense, our word clue is we've got our bow pulled back, and we're gonna, in the future, we're gonna shoot our arrow. We haven't yet, but we're pulling our bow back, and our arrow's gonna shoot in the future. So bow is our clue. Bobus bit, bimus bitus bunt. I will probably just chant really quietly this one with it. It's the Three Blind Mice tune, and they like to do that one really quiet. I don't know why, we just have done that this year, that one very quietly. I do that while we're cleaning up our maps, and if I'm handing out something for the next subject or whatever, that's usually when I do it. But we'll just probably do it quietly if you have a younger class and you need to spend a little more time actually doing Latin. I remembered that I had a bunch of these, although I think this one is broken because I think it's the one that I gave my toddler to play with. These I found, they're, Dollar Tree kind of thing. I think you can even buy them from bulk, from like Oriental Trading. They're fun to just talk into. You can get one for each kid so you don't have to worry about germs, or you can just wipe it off after each kid if you want. But it lets some of these subjects that maybe are just sentences or they're not as much fun, the microphones can be a way to make them fun again. So these, I might bring these in and let them do these for Latin. For math, we have the area of a square for this week. So last week we had the area of a rectangle, and we're working on all of these geometry, area and circumference formulations. So I use the geometry song, which goes like this. The area of a rectangle equals length times width. The area of a square equals length of its side squared s squared. The area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. The area of a circle equals pi times the radius squared. The circumference of a circle equals 2 times pi times the radius. Geometry. There's like a whole thing after that, and I won't bore you with that part. So we had the area of a rectangle equals length times width. The area of a square equals length of its side squared, or s squared, whichever one. Everybody says it differently, I feel like. So, or not everyone, like each of my kids some will say sides and some will just say s. So it just depends on whatever they want to say. So that's what we will sing. And I will probably just for the next few weeks work on the full song. If you have a younger class, you might just want to build each week and work on that part of the song each week. This is an easy thing to draw up on the board just to help give a visual for those kids that are more visual, show them that we have all the sides and they're the same for a square. That's what makes it a square. And that when you multiply them and how you write that out, and that's why we're saying s squared, or the sides squared, and what that means. So they should know squares because they've learned squares. So that's what we'll do for math. For English, I have a song, and I honestly am not 100% sure where it came from. My kids say that it is from I found this on the web. Well, Siri apparently is going to tell me. My kids say it's from like an online like learning game that we have, so I'm going to trust them because they generally remember that stuff much better than I do. But it says, a noun names a person, place or thing, activity or idea. What, Henry? What's it from?
It's actually from something called I know a different version.
Is it from Starfall?
Starfall.com.
Oh, okay.
A noun is a name of a person, place, or thing. A thing you might show. A place you might go. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't even heard that one. There's all kinds of songs out there. So I just sing, a noun names a person, place, or thing, activity or idea. And then it makes me think of chia. And that's how my brain works. So I plan to just have a simple paper or some pictures, or even you could bring in like a box of things. So you could have a person and bring like, any character you have around your house. So a person, a place, just bring a small globe. I have some of those squishy globe balls. Place, a thing, anything you want to bring. Activity, bring a baseball or anything like that, a golf ball. And then idea, I think I would just bring a light bulb and have them hold it over their head for idea. So you could do that. If you want to actually bring some stuff, you could just print some pictures of those things just to kind of help them identify. Again, I have the older class, they're in essentials, so they've kind of already covered this year. But it's still fun to take a moment and really focus on these definitions that once you learn them, you kind of don't think about them as much. Like we identify nouns really quickly in essentials so we don't sit there and go, is this an activity or an idea? We don't identify those. So anyway, that's what I plan to do for English. Then for science, We have the second law of motion. So I think actually I don't have my Van Cleves in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that our science experiment for today goes right along with this. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, it's the one where you roll a little car down a ramp and it runs into a cup and it causes the cup to move. So this would be a great one to, if you have a little bowling set, to do, let the kids take turns bowling, because you have a mass and acceleration, and then there's force hitting the pins, and that would be a good tie-in for the objects at rest tend to remain at rest, and this is the outside force acting upon them, because an outside force is mass times acceleration. So it just all goes together there. But we have Newton's second law of motion states that force equals mass times acceleration, which is written F equals ma. They don't have to say that part for Memory Master. Generally things in italics, they don't have to say. Another thing that you could do is I have these little cups, which I'm pretty sure are supposed to be disposable shot glasses, but that is not what I use them for. You could have them, let them build a small tower with it, and then try to throw like a balloon, because that doesn't have much mass at it. So they're going to be still using the same maybe acceleration, but they won't have the same mass. Then you could let them use a ball to throw it at it, just to kind of show the difference between what mass is and how it changes the force, so that, or you could have them, just barely throw it so they don't have much acceleration. You can mess with the whole thing, but you can make a little tower out of this and do it, or you could take one of these and you could let them just each have one and roll a little car. If you have a younger class and you have a bunch of little Matchbox cars, you could let them roll those at it and hit the cup and see how the force that's hitting the cup. So there's all different things that you can do to act these science ones out. Let's see. So then we have history, I think, and then timeline. So history, again, we have one of these sentences that has all these people in all these countries. I remember my first time through the cycle loving like the first half of the year and all of the songs. And then we got into the last half and it was just like, this is really hard to remember who these people are and where they're from. So I know that it's difficult for the kids, and I'm visual and I hate to just repeat things all the time, but I just really feel like seeing the names with the country is very helpful for me. And I do think it's helpful for the kids too. So ways to do that are, if you have a big map, you can, like the most complicated way would be to print out pictures of these people and place them on the maps. So you could print out a picture of Hitler, and then you could stick him up onto Germany so that they can see Hitler from Germany, and then print a picture of Tojo and stick him up on Japan. If you want to go slightly simpler, you could just write in Germany on the map. You just write an H, and they can use their maps and also put an H in Germany for Hitler, a T in Japan, and you can just put the initial of the person in their country to kind of match them up. You could have them do them in different colors, so you could have the Axis and the Allies in separate colors, so that would also kind of help give a visual clue as to who was working together and who were, I say allies, they weren't all allies, but like the Axis powers were allied together and then the Allies were together. So that's a different way. You could use Post-it notes. You could use different colored Post-it notes and have them put them up there. There's all kinds of different ways you can do that idea. If you have a younger class and you're like trying to find more locations on a map is not my favorite thing with 4-year-olds. I feel you. I would just listen to the song several times, and then I would read the sentence with them, but I would replace some of the names with funny words. They tend to find that hilarious, especially that the teacher or the tutor is messing up. They just find that really funny. So for example, instead of Mussolini of Italy, you could say Houdini of Italy and see if they notice it. And you play it up a little bit and just, be like Houdini of Italy and make them be like, no. And then you correct it and say, oh, it was Mussolini of Italy. Whoops, my bad. So this might be a fun one to just add in some silly names. I mean, Tojo's already, not to make fun, it's already kind of a fun name to say. So that is another option. Or if you have a class, maybe they're kind of in the middle, they're not great at finding stuff on the maps, but maybe they're a little too old for the silly things. You could have them do some matching where they match up Hitler and the flag of Germany and Mussolini and Italy, and match all of those up, and then you could have them also match them into their groups of the Axis and the Allies. So they could work on those together. You could just use note cards and cut them in half and write Hitler and Germany on them, and Mussolini, Italy, and so on and so forth, and then have them put those in the correct spots. There's lots of different ways you can do this. You can also just listen to the song and sing the song a few times. So I hope that was not too much, but also enough that you can find something that works for your class. So the last thing we have is timeline. So we have Napoleon, crowned Emperor of France. So we're gonna make an N for Napoleon, which is your first two fingers over your thumb, kind of like makes the shape of an N there. And then we're gonna turn that into an E, which is all your fingers kind of tucked up and your thumb tucked in. And we're gonna go from shoulder to hip like we've done before for the royalty sash. So that's for emperor. And then as we did, I think during the French Revolution, we're gonna kind of make the OK sign and kind of flick it because we're French and we're fancy. So we have Napoleon, crowned Emperor of France. And then we have liberation of South America. So we're gonna kind of break free. I feel like we've done this before. So liberation, and then we're gonna make an S, which is your thumb tucked all into your fingers here. And we're just going to move that down to show South America, sorry. I almost said South Africa for a minute. I was like, that's not right. So, and just move that down to show South America. And then we have the War of 1812, and it was like one of the first times bombs were heavily used. So then we're gonna just kind of have some explosions. So it's your two hands and fists on top of each other, and then they just kind of explode and come back together and explode. So the War of 1812, you don't have time to do a lot of bombs, but then we have the Missouri Compromise. So we're going to take our ideas and bring them together until we have the same idea. So we're gonna bring, your fingers are kind of pointing, but they're going forward and pointing out. So our ideas are coming together and they're the same. That's our compromise. So the Missouri Compromise. Then we have immigrants flock to America. So we're gonna take one hand and bring our other hand underneath it, and that's like the sign for like coming into. So all these people were coming into America. And for the America part, we're gonna take our hands, kind of interlock them and kind of go around like this. And that, what they say, is supposed to be symbolic of America becoming this mixing pot. So all these different people coming in together and they're all mixing up and becoming America. So immigrants flock to America. Then we have the Monroe Doctrine. So the Monroe Doctrine was a statement that any other country that came in that and tried to claim any parts of America from the Atlantic to the Pacific, because we had expanded that far, that it'd be considered an act of war. And so we're just gonna take our hands, not like a bomb, they're not on top, they're down below, and we're going to expand them out to show that America was expanding and was all the way from one side to the other. So we're gonna go like this. I'm sorry, you can't see that well. So that's the Monroe Doctrine. And then the Romantic period of the arts is just fun to do. It was very dramatic. So, and if you've seen like the theater faces where there's the really sad one and the really happy one, that's what we're gonna mime. So you kind of take your hands, you're gonna make a sad face, and then you're gonna go, happy face. So the little ones love doing this one. So it's sad, and then it's happy. For the Romantic period of the arts. If you're singing it, it's like Romantic period of the arts. That's how we do that. So that is timeline for this week. I'm gonna try to do week 18, but I don't think I'm gonna get it done today because I have basketball. I will try to get it done on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. I'll try to get it done on Thursday because we have community today, and that's a full day for me tomorrow. And then I will make time next week to sit down and just get all the next 6 done so that you guys don't have to wait on me. I'm sorry that you've been waiting. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an awesome third semester, first 6 weeks of the second semester, third quarter, first 6 weeks of the second semester. That's where you are. I hope it's going better than it obviously is for me. So I will see you guys soon with week 18, and then hopefully not too long after that, I'll get the rest of the year up. See you guys.